Stand with us. Please fight with us.
Fighting for the heart and soul of their beloved home.
Altadena is a community, not just houses, but people.
The major plea to the state to keep lots for sale away from investors. Plus, how one man used artificial intelligence to get more insurance money for his parents.
So what you're seeing here is about 80% written by AI.
And together again, Casey Colvin and Oreo will join us in the studio to tell us how they're doing 4 months after this incredible reunion. Welcome to Rebuilding SoCal, our commitment to giving you the latest developments in the wake of the fires. I'm Amy Johnson. Here at KCAL, we will keep you at the forefront of our coverage as we rebuild SoCal. We'll get answers and hold leaders accountable while showcasing Southern California's solidarity and strength, because we stand with you. Now, we want to start with the fight to preserve the soul of Altadena. This week, activists called on state officials to take action to keep the community intact.
Stand with us. Please fight with us. Please show up, because this is a long journey. Our families are hurting right now.
Now, victims and advocates say nearly half of the 94 properties sold in the area were sold to investors. They want the state to commit $200 million to local nonprofits to help build homes for the people, not for the money.
I'm infuriated because, you know, they talk a lot, they promise a lot, but they don't deliver. Altadena is a community, not just houses, but people.
Well, it would be a first of its kind response to have local groups buy up properties to avoid the displacement of residents. The call for action also comes as the governor announced a $12 billion deficit in the state's budget. Well, meanwhile, State Farm has officially received approval from the state insurance commissioner to raise its rates in California. Starting June 1st, State Farm can temporarily raise its rates by 17% for homeowners, 15% for renters and condos, and 38% for rental dwellings. State Farm claims the hikes are necessary to avoid what they called a dire financial situation after the January wildfires. It's the first time in California history an emergency rate hike has been approved for an insurance company.
It takes away from your groceries, it takes away from your fuel, it takes away from your retirement, it takes away in every way.
It's like we're paying for other people that are in a high risk area, so it's not really fair. But again, what are you going to do, right?
Well, as we mentioned, the price hike is temporary. State Farm will have to go through a full rate hearing later this year. Well, a couple who lost their home in the Eaton fire was having trouble with their insurer until their son stepped in. Christine Lazar shows us how he used AI to fight for more money and how he won.
The first trauma was losing the family home in the Eaton fire.
It was very emotional for them because there's very little left.
The second trauma, Dennis Salguero says, was dealing with his elderly parents' home insurance company.
Some adjusters would only be assigned to our account for like 3 days. They'd tell us one day that they were our new adjuster, and then 3 days later they'd say, nope, I'm not your new adjuster.
Salguero says the final adjuster came back with a rebuild estimate well below the market average, leaving his parents, both retired teachers, underwater.
So the difference was well into the 6 figures. And that's where we thought, well, we have to do something about this because there's just no way we can rebuild for what they were offering.
So Salguero decided to use his background as a data scientist and utilize artificial intelligence to push back against the insurance company.
Well, the beauty of AI is that basically every document, every professional domain is open to you. So I may not be an insurance adjuster or a construction expert by trade, but I know that that information is out there.
Salguero used multiple free versions of AI to draft an appeal.
I had ChatGPT give me a basic document. Like, what are the arguments you would make here? What are the estimates you would make here? I took that document, I showed it to another engine. In that case, it was Grok by X. And that engine was able to say, good document, but I think on this line and this line and this line, I would change the values.
This is that letter.
So what you're seeing here is about 80% written by AI.
It includes multiple models with estimates to rebuild, complete with a line-by-line breakdown of costs.
How did the insurance company react to those documents?
Silence. But that was also a good sign in my view.
Salguero assumed they were taking time to review it, and he was right. Within days, he says the insurer came back with a payout that was more than $150,000 greater than their original offer.
They essentially said that they agreed with the documentation I sent them.
When I asked Salguero how that felt, he was overcome with emotion.
Because it's for my parents. It wasn't for me. I mean, I just happen to be good at this stuff.
These are my parents up on the screen.
Now Salguero is sharing what he learned.
I want to use this as a teachable moment to help other homeowners that are in this situation.
With his thousands of followers on his Data Science with Dennis social media pages.
I hope it makes people feel empowered to do this, because I think it can be very intimidating to go up against an insurance company and fight for what you've been paying for, right? For what your coverage is. And it should also make people feel like they don't have to be an expert in all of these items. They just have to be able to accurately describe to AI what it is that they want to accomplish.
Salguero's parents have decided to sell their land, but he says the extra money AI helped them secure will go a long way as they decide where to settle. He also wants people to know that AI can help with any insurance issue, from health insurance to car insurance disputes.
I understand why algorithms are important and automation and all these other things, but there's real people behind those decisions. And it's disappointing to see companies forget that.
Christine Lazar, KCAL News.
Well, a new report details how and why millions in Southern California got bogus fire evacuation alerts at the height of the fires. Assignment editor Mike Rogers has the details from the desk.
Yeah, we all remember the alerts that everyone got during the Kenneth fire. Now, they were supposed to go to a certain group of people, but went to almost 10 million people in LA County. Now we're getting an idea of how exactly that happened. Come here, I want to show this to you because we're going to show you the Kenneth fire. Remember, this was the one that was burning at the same time as the Palisades and the Eaton fires. This was up near the Calabasas and West Hills area. When they went to send the alerts out, well, it looked like this. We all got them across LA County. We'll show you the alerts here. It was this one. Evacuation warning has been issued by the Los Angeles County Fire Department. But the problem was it went to nearly 10 million people, way more than the intended target. Well, a federal investigation led by Congressman Robert Garcia is shedding some light on exactly how that happened. I want to show you this next screen because it's actually an insight into how this is done. This is a program called Genesis, and it's used by LA County Operations of Emergency Management. And what they do is they literally draw a line around the neighborhood that they want to be evacuated. This is then sent to a secondary system that then sends it to your phone. The problem is this polygon never made it to the second system, only the geographical location of Los Angeles. So when it went out to all of Los Angeles County. So the congressman says there's a couple of ways of things that have already been fixed. In this situation, Genesis, this program, will now pop an error message saying that the polygon never made it to the second system. That way the user knows, okay, we've got to redo this, we've got to fix it. The congressman also says FEMA is supposed to be updating these mobile alerts, and they are going to include something really important. I want to show that to you here. When you get these alerts in the future, 2026 even, they may look something like this. You may actually see the area that is actually under alert, and you'll also see where your mobile device is. So even if it is inadvertently sent to everyone in Los Angeles County instead of just the people in the Calabasas and West Hills area, well, you'll be able to look at that and know, okay, that wasn't meant for me. It was meant for these people in this very specific area. Work in progress, but according to the congressman, lots of fixes have already been made.
Thanks so much. One iconic Southern California attraction hosting some of the icons and heroes of our community. Jamie Maggio is live at the Queen Mary in Long Beach with highlights from the 20th Red Cross Hometown Heroes Luncheon. Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Amy. Yeah, so every year, the local chapter of the American Red Cross recognizes remarkable individuals who perform extraordinary acts in the community with the Hometown Hero Award. And this year, being the 20th annual, they chose a very special venue, the Queen Mary in Long Beach.
And accepting his award today is Max Witt.
They asked for a medical assistant and someone went down, recognizing that they're in full arrest, performing interventions until the paramedics showed up.
The American Red Cross honoring hometown heroes today because real heroes don't wear capes. They're people amongst us who take their humanitarian spirit and spring into action, going above and beyond to assist in their community.
I hope that everybody would do that.
I'm just glad we did it.
These are people who have been at the supermarket. Someone falls down, they assist, they give CPR. There's plenty of stories here from whether they're firefighters, police officers, or regular civilians helping other people.
I love being a public servant. I love going to work every day with my crews and helping people. The Queen Mary looks absolutely beautiful. I'm glad to see an event here at the Queen Mary, and I'm happy to be honored.
Accepting this award is Andrew Henry Archibald.
Of the 17, 13 were killed, four of us survived. And
what does it mean to you today to be honored?
Oh, this is quite a surprise. I think the men who died over there are the ones to be honored. They're the real heroes to me.
Well, Andy's story had me in tears today, I'll tell you that much, Amy, and it was a really good reminder while listening to the stories of the 18 individuals that were honored as hometown heroes that I want to go out and take a refresher course for CPR because it really, truly is life-saving, and you just never know when you're going to need to perform that and how it's going to help someone. So just a really uplifting day here at the Queen Mary with the American Red Cross recognizing those hometown heroes.
Yes, they certainly serve as a wonderful example to all of us, Jamie. Thank you. And we partnered with the American Red Cross to help fire victims. If you'd like to donate, scan that QR code right there on your screen or go to redcross.org/KCAL. Well, a bookstore fighting to prevent its story from coming to an end. Its plea to the community just ahead. Oh, an unforgettable moment. A man reuniting with his dog after days of searching during the fires. Well, Casey, Oreo, and Tika are in studio to share their story and how they're doing months later. Oh, it was a moment that captured the hearts of so many people online. Casey Colvin reuniting with his dog Oreo after 5 days of searching during the Palisades fire. And now, just a little more than 4 months later, Casey and his pups Oreo and Tika are here in studio, and it is wonderful to have all of you here. You lost your home in the Palisades fire and got separated from Oreo. For people who don't know your story, tell us what happened that day.
I literally left the house to drive maybe 4 miles down the street, and then the second I got to my destination, I got a call from my boss saying, she was like, I think your house is on fire. I'm watching it on TV, like the whole neighborhood is on fire. So I tried to drive back down Sunset Boulevard and everything was blocked off with the police. So that was when I called every single bicycle store in Santa Monica, and I found a bike rental place where I was able to ride a bike into the fires and get as close as I could to the fires in order to try and rescue my dogs.
But you didn't get to them that day?
No, ma'am. I was only able to get to the command post, and I found a firefighter named Brent Pascua, and Brent was able to actually go into the house, break down the door, and he rescued Tika, but Oreo ran out into the fires.
Oh, gosh. And so many people have seen that video. You just went back to where your home was, and that's where you found?
Yes, ma'am. So he had been running in a 3-mile radius for about 5 days through the fires and just sleeping in the fire rubble. Oh. So we had gotten repeated sightings from people in the neighborhood saying that they'd seen him. And it was really the help of the community, and then also Social Compassion is the group that I'm working with on the legislation to help people in disasters recover their animals, and they had a team of 12 dog trackers looking for Oreo in the fires, just total volunteers, total strangers.
Yeah. And that bill has just passed, correct?
Well, so we just got a unanimous go-ahead in committee, and we're going to be going to appropriations now, so that's when they figure out if the bill is going to cost any money for us to execute, which I don't see why it would, because we're all self-funded in terms of the rescue groups. So we're hoping that we can get the bill into the Senate and then get it signed by Gavin Newsom.
Wow, and so that will help so many others.
Yes, absolutely. It'll help people get into fire zones and flood zones and earthquake zones in order to rescue their animals.
Yeah, because it's so, so often tragedies like this happen when you're at work.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've left your, your fur babies at home, and then you can't get back to them. So this is certainly an important mission. A lot of people are wondering, where are you all at now? Where, 4 months later.
I tell people all the time, a friend of mine set up a GoFundMe, and if it wasn't for my friend that set up that GoFundMe, I don't know what would have happened to us. So we ended up relocating, and we just got into a house that has a fence and a yard, and I couldn't be happier. But yeah, we had to make some changes. I asked the realtor, I said, just please don't let it burn. That was my only criteria. I said, don't let it burn, and let there be a yard and a fence for the dogs.
Yes, yes, and I can't help but notice the T-shirt you have on today.
Yes, ma'am.
That is the day of the reunion.
Yeah, people ask for T-shirts, so they can go to OreoFireDog.com and get T-shirts and swag and stuff like that. But these are street dogs. These are legitimate street dogs. I found her on the street, and then he was an owner relinquishment twice. So I realized he was behavioral, and I was afraid that if he went to the shelter, he would be euthanized. And if anybody's thinking about adopting a dog, they should go to Lancaster, or they should go to the West LA Animal Shelter on Pico, and they should adopt a dog.
Yes, and these have brought you so much joy, and it
Yes,
was just so evident that day when you were reunited. And, I always wondered, we all knew how happy you were. Do you think Oreo had any idea what was going on as far as how happy you were to see
I think
him?
Oreo knew that we were separated. And Oreo has not been away from me ever since we got back together.
Oh, well, we are so happy that you all are all together in a new home.
We love KCAL, and we sing Gilligan's Island whenever we come to your studio.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We certainly appreciate it, and we're glad that you all are doing well.
Thank you for having us.
Certainly appreciate it. Well, coming up, calling all book lovers to save a store on the brink of closing.
Someone showing up to work can feel a little bit like a funeral march,
The battle for survival that many Malibu businesses are facing. That's coming up next. And an artist who's dedicated his work to Altadena is now at the center of a new inspiring exhibit. Well, a major plea to book lovers. A Malibu store on the brink of shutting down is calling on the community to keep them afloat. Many nearby businesses that survived the Palisades fire are still struggling from the lack of traffic and road closures. Jasmine Veal has a look.
Okay, I now need to add, Malibu Village Books, this is Sunny. How can I help you?
Sunny Newman answers one of the few customer phone calls that come in nowadays at Malibu Village Books.
It's been an enormous struggle.
He sees even fewer people coming into this indie bookstore that opened barely 2 years ago in Malibu Village.
Someone showing up to work can feel a little bit like a funeral march,
This bookstore, along with more than a dozen other businesses in this shopping plaza off Pacific Coast Highway, may not have burned in the Palisades fire, but many are struggling nonetheless.
So much of the community is gone because many people lost their homes, and PCH has been closed.
They're hanging on to hope that the 10-mile stretch of highway that connects to Santa Monica will reopen by the end of May, restoring life to Malibu's tourism-driven economy.
The whole shopping center is kind of in trouble. We are very, very worried about closing.
Here in this little bookstore, they have posters and signs like this asking their customers to help save Malibu Village Books by making donations. They say their sales are down 75% since the fire.
The first few months, we were basically nothing, 80 to 90% down.
It's the same story for Ludo Malmu, who owns Viva, a shoe store in the shopping center. He says they need help and they need it now.
We've just been twiddling our thumbs, so hopefully people will come back soon. Without that, we don't exist.
A new report released by Beacon Economics and the Pepperdine School of Public Policy reveals the millions of dollars in economic fallout from the fires on businesses in Malibu, which damaged 234 businesses and destroyed 99 others in this city alone. Newman says they've had to cut back staff and hours. Their lease is up in a year.
And we're in the situation we're in now. We're gone. We're completely out of business.
Not the ending he wants for this bookstore's tale. In Malibu, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News.
Well, a beloved artist who's been painting the streets of Altadena for decades is now at the center of a new exhibit at the California African American Museum. It showcases Black artists who've thrived in Altadena's hillsides. Kenny Davis, known as Kenny Arts, lost his family home, studio, and paintings in the Eaton Fire, but that didn't stop him from painting.
I'm trying to get most of the places on Lake Avenue first. My main focus is getting these scenes of Altadena before the bulldozers roll in.
The fact that he felt the urgency to go back out there and paint what it looked like shows how much he was connected to the land, to the places.
Well, the Ode to Dena exhibit lasts until October 12th. It also features his wife, daughter, and grandson. Well, we want to thank you for watching Rebuilding SoCal. I'm Amy Johnson. We'll be back next Friday at 4:30 right here on KCAL. You can also find the show on our YouTube page and our website. Have a great weekend.